Welcome to it, sports fans, from the bleachers with me, MKT. Back again, episode 35. Fantastic to be with you. What a day it was. What are you talking about today? So I'll get to it. Of course, some people watching the football, but that's okay. For those who can join me, thank you very much for joining me live. Remember, all of this will be up YouTube. It's going to live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and we are on iTunes. So you can look in the subscription you can subscribe to, of course, across every platform, and you can look in the description below for the iTunes link if you're on iTunes. Otherwise, if you've got an Android phone, you'll find the Podbean link as well below. But I'm going to get into it. This is a special one, and it'll be quick. All right, we'll be quick here because I know some guys are watching a formality going on in Catalonia. So I don't want to do too much of an intro. Welcome to it, episode 35, live from Cape Town, South Africa, which is an awesome place to be, getting nippy. But we're going to get into it. Let's get straight into it. What are we talking about? We're going to talk a little golf, a bit of football, and as usual, finish off with a bit of rugby. So what am I going to talk to you about right up front, off the bat? Let's go to Augusta. Listen, we live in a confusing world right now. You know, PC culture, as it's taking over, apparently everyone's special, right? Yeah, Montessori schools, everyone needs to be included. Listen, I've got a news flash for you. Not everybody's special. You need to deal with that. That's my news flash for everybody out there. Not everybody's special. Get on with it. Deal with it. It's brutal, it's nasty, you don't want to hear it, but it's true. Like, dude, your brother's wife's better than your wife. Like, accept that. Like, I don't know what to do about that, bro. Your brother's wife's just better. She's better looking, she's a better mom, she looks after the kids better. Just get over it. Like, sort your in-house stuff out. Stop trying to bring her down. She's just a better wife, better looking. Your brother's richer probably, has a better job than you. What's he supposed to do? He's got a better wife. That's okay, accept it. There is better, there is objective. Listen, ladies, the lady who puts in the most effort, who wakes up at 5 a.m. to go to gym, who still has a job, who doesn't wear ridiculous shoes like pumps, she's gonna get the most attention. She's in good shape, she's independent, she's got a job, she's probably got more self-confidence because of her physique. She's going to get more attention. She's better. It's better. She's going to get more attention. We have to accept this, guys. Right? Listen, I'm not Tyrese. I'm not Tay Diggs, right? Like, I've accepted that. I'm not special. Those guys are genetically special, right? I'm not Lenny Kravitz. You've got to accept that some people are special, and that's okay. Listen, I think if a man or a woman are good looking, we could all just say it, deal with the insecurity, and keep this thing moving. Some people are special, some people aren't. Some people are special, some people aren't. At Augusta on Sunday, a man in a red shirt, black pants, and a Nike cap did something special. He showed us he was special. That man's name is Eldrick Woods, not Tiger Woods, Eldrick Woods. Let me tell you why I call him Eldrick Woods for now. Eldrick Woods finished 44th in driving distance. I'm going to let that sink in. Eldrick Woods at the Masters, right, in 2019, finished 44th. In driving distance. So I'm just going to let that sink in. 44th in driving distance. Listen, at Augusta, they had to tiger-proof it. They made it longer and longer, and they put bunkers, and they put water, because we know he was long off the tee, but he was wayward. It was 4 left, 4 right. 4 years. But they had to tiger-proof it. Because he hit the ball 30 yards. That's 15, 20 meters past everybody else. That's why I call him Eldrick Woods this weekend. They tiger-proofed Augusta over a decade. For a decade, they had to tiger-proof it. Because when Tiger's Tiger, he's not 44th in terms of length. Believe you me, anybody who knows their golf knows that much. Listen, folks, he just had his second back fusion. Anybody who's ever had a back massage, forget about an operation, you had your back massage, you know you're not the same for like 6 weeks afterwards. Like, ooh, pull the back muscle. You ever heard somebody who's overweight, like big stomach people, and ooh, my back, I can barely sit. This guy's had his back fused. That's a career ender. He's had it twice. 6 months ago, you remember that DUI picture? Tiger Woods didn't even remember where he was. He thought he was in California or in Miami. He didn't know where he was. And everybody saw that photo of a broken man. Eldrick Woods, ladies and gentlemen. Folks, we saw Tiger at about 40% this weekend at best. At best. Because we can see the physique's back, but he was 44th in driving length. Like, I can't say that enough. When I saw that, I nearly fell off my chair this morning when I was doing my research. Folks, he's at 40% at best. And I'm like, that's a push, right? I'd say he's at like 30%, but he's at 40% because he did the right thing. Folks, when the back comes right, he starts trusting the back. Oh, good night, nurse, as they say. But I think the thing with Tiger is that he's so exceptional that people don't really know how to contextualize the win yesterday. And they don't know how to contextualize Tiger because he's in the stratosphere while everybody else is playing on Earth. He's gone, he's like the black hole we just took a photo of. He's somewhere else. He's an enigma, and beyond that, enigma just isn't the word. Eldrick Woods, ladies and gentlemen, I want to repeat it before I get into contextualizing just how great this man is. 44th in driving length. So for this segment, he's not called Tiger Woods. He's called Eldrick Woods. Listen, he's the first billionaire to make that money just off sport. That tells you something. You know, I've always said it, I'll say it again. Companies tell you who the most important person is at the company. You know how they do that? It's who's got the most zeros next to their name, right? Who's got the most zeros at the end of the month going into their bank account? First sportsman and only sportsman ever to be paid $1 billion. Listen, these companies don't just pay people. You've got to have value. You've got to be different. And they've all tried. Federer, Messi, Ronaldo. He made $1 billion. He's in an elite sport. And I tell you what's tricky. Some people don't like it. He's a black guy in a white guy's sport. He still made $1 billion. Let me let that sink in. Like, that's a huge thing. First man to $1 billion in earnings. And if that isn't good enough for you, okay, he might have the machine behind him. You can sell the story, blah, blah, blah. You might say that. He went to Stanford. Okay, he had an upper leg. All right. If that's how you want to do it, some people say, okay, he went to Stanford, he had his advantages, and the sort of the corporate PR machine started early. All right, let me do it this way for you. Nobody in the history of sport has ever been twice as good as the people he's been competing against. There's a number 10 right now, if you're watching the football, there's a little number 10 who's twice as good as any footballer that's ever played. That's a conversation for a different segment, but he's the only other person who's done what this guy's done. But this guy's special because he's been the best. He's been twice as good as everybody else 3 years in a row, or three years of his career. Let me put it to you this way. In 2002, Tiger went 15.72 points, right? This is the golf rankings at the end of the calendar year. The next best was 7.72, Phil Mickelson. He was a full 8 points back. So Phil Mickelson didn't even earn 8 points, but he was that far behind Tiger. 15.72, plays 7.72. In 2006, the only man to ever go over 20 ranking points on the PGA Tour. 2006, Tiger Woods 20.41. Jim Furyk 8.88. Folks, that's a staggering 11.5 points behind him. He's not even half as good as him. That's not even close to being half as good as Tiger in that year. And then in 2007, 19.62 points. Phil Mickelson, 8.72 points. That's 10.9 points back. Folks, I didn't even want to get into it. He's twice as good as people in golf, and golf is a nightmare to be consistent. There's 6 more years where he's at least 1.5 times better than the rest. Just let that sink in. He's twice as good as anybody near him for 3 years in his career. He's 1.5 times as good as guys in the other 6 as a part of that calendar. Folks, this guy's been the world's best 12 times. 12 times. Tiger Woods has been the world's best 12 years. That's 12 calendar years as well. It's not like at a stage in a year. He has consistently been the best for 12 years. Folks, that's unbelievable. Nobody's ever done that. Schumacher only ever won 7 titles, and Formula One is nowhere near as long as a golf season. Roger Federer has done it 5 times, where he's been number 1. Tiger's done it 12. 12 years he's led the PGA. Just let that sink in. This man is not from this planet. Folks, this weekend he had Johnson, right? He had Schaufel, he had Kupka, he had Jason Day, he had Simpson, he had Molinari. That's 6 of the world's top 10 with a double fused back, and he hasn't played top-class golf really this year. He had them all hunting him down. He couldn't drive the ball. He doesn't have a back. He doesn't trust his back. He doesn't trust his knees yet. They were all tracking him down, and he said, no way. He said, no way. We saw the Tiger recovery. We saw the Tiger putt. It is back. Eldrick Woods this weekend was phenomenal. Folks, he's special. Nobody compares to Tiger. Can we stop with this now? Nobody compares to Tiger. And I don't mean just now, I mean ever. Tiger for me has been the best golfer to ever live, and certainly in the top 2 for me, especially now. He's the second greatest sportsman for me of all time, but I'll get to that another time. But please, listen, and if people think he's done this year, by the way, remember the US Open this year is at Pebble Beach. And if you don't know, he went to Stanford. Pebble Beach is in California. For those that don't know, he went to Stanford. Stanford University basically they've got their own course, but they play Pebble Beach as like their own course. So for 2 years, Tiger played Pebble Beach probably every weekend, twice a weekend. He's obsessed. You think he doesn't know every hook and nook cranny at Pebble Beach? For 2 years, it was his home course. It was, folks, Tiger Woods is obsessed. I guarantee you he was there every weekend. He's not done this year. He's definitely winning one more this year if the back holds. I back him at Pebble Beach because he knows that course like, if not the back of his hand, maybe the front of both hands. Folks, he can't drive the ball. I don't want to go on about it, but he couldn't drive this weekend. He's 44th. Eldrick Woods. That wasn't Tiger this weekend. He's at 40%. Stop talking about Jack. It's over. Jack Nicklaus is not in the same category as this man. Jack, Gary Player, they're all second. They're all second. It's over now, folks. 11 years since he won a title. They all wrote him off. Listen, guy was even nice enough to give his former babysitter $250 million to go away. I say that in tongue in cheek. My goodness, she's the world's best paid babysitter of all time. $250 million. Is that ridiculous or what? Why can't you get 10? Anyway, that's going somewhere else. She got $250 million. I don't care how much money you've got, that's going to affect you. That's going to affect you. I don't care if you're a Tiger Woods, $250 million is a bucket load. He lost all of that. He had the public humiliation, and still 11 years later, 2 fused backs, 2 ACL operations, he's back on top. Eldrick Woods, folks, at 40% is too good for these kids. He's 43 years old. To anybody who's watching, greatness doesn't come around often, folks. Appreciate it, because very soon he's going to be gone. Greatness does not come around often. Eldrick Woods, folks, has just started a revolution. I back 1 more for this year, 2 more next year, and then it's over even on paper. He'll go to 19, and that's all she wrote. He'll go to 19. Next year, he will go to 19. He's at 15 now, will go 16, and then he'll win 3 more next year. Why not? I don't see him not winning 2 more. If the back holds, folks, if Tiger Woods' back holds, as they say, good night, nurse. Let's go to a team that are playing right now, probably trying to save their season, although I don't see it happening. They're at the no comp at the moment. I don't know the result. I've taped the game, so I'll watch it after this. But recently, Man United appointed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Man United have given the biggest job in world football to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Folks, let me read some words to you. See if you know it. You may know it for those of you that are country fans. Although it's always crowded, you still can find some room for broken-hearted lovers to cry there in gloom. So said Elvis Presley. Listen, Man United fans, this is the one-way street to Heartbreak Hotel. What on earth has Ole Gunnar Solskjaer done to earn the biggest job in world football? Please tell me. 2 Norwegian titles? Premier League reserve title? Is that what we're going to talk about? Really? Is that what we're talking about? Norwegian titles. Stop it. Stop comparing Zidane and Pep with Solskjaer. It's not the same comparison. Zidane was involved with Real Madrid's first team for 4 years. Guys, Pep won the equivalent of Spain's 4th division with Barcelona's B team. Like, okay, you can coach. With kids. With kids. Pep won it with kids, folks. Stop comparing Pep and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. What are we talking about here? I don't get it. I don't get it. Folks, Roberto Di Matteo won the Champions League, all right, with Chelsea, and he was gone within 6 months. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has done the regulation at Man United. What did he win? 40, or he was unbeaten for 14 in a row. That doesn't mean anything. You're at Man United. I expect that. I expect that. Like, why is he being praised for doing what's expected at Man United? I don't. When did that start? At Man United now, I don't want to hear it. I've said it before. I don't want to hear the United way again, because it's over now. If you're celebrating winning 14 in a row, going 14 unbeaten, I don't care about that. It's Man United. I thought that was the level of expectation. That's what I thought. Folks, he's in for a harsh lesson. It's clear now Man United and Ed Woodward have made a horrendous mistake. They've handed the club over to the players. How do I know that? You've gotten rid of David Moyes. And some of those players are still there. Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho. The players won every time. It's clear now who the club belongs to. No longer, as Alex Ferguson used to say, is the manager the most important person at Man United. And I'm afraid Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to learn the hard way. Folks, I've always said it. Football goes like this. You need the ownership. So the boardroom has to be solid. You have to have the best coach, and then naturally the best players. Ed Woodward is a disaster. He has shown that now. Man United haven't signed a marquee player since Sir Alex Ferguson left. Can that make sense? Please don't tell me Paul Pogba is a marquee player. He is not. Marquee players don't need babysitting. Marquee players don't need to be told that they're tactically indisciplined. Guys, you can't have two managers in a row say he's indisciplined. Didier Deschamps had to look after him. He had to play Sissoko, and he had to play Conte, Sissoko as well on the right, because Sissoko would track. He had to play Conte as well. And Blaise Matuidi. Because you've got to babysit Pogba, because he doesn't realize that he's a midfielder. And he has to be responsible. He's a poor man's Juan Sebastian Veron in my account. Yes, he'll get you goals, but that's not enough. Not at Man United, folks. Frank Lampard got me goals, but he still did the job. You can't have a guy be called a marquee player and he's got that big a chink in his armor. You cannot be indisciplined and be a marquee player. That doesn't work. I don't care what you think of Paul Pogba. I don't hate him. But if I have to babysit my marquee player, what does that mean about the guys underneath him? If I have to babysit the guy who's probably the captain, what does that mean about the guys beneath him? And at Man United, I've never seen it. The dressing room ran itself forever. It was Vidic, Rio, and those guys, they ran the dressing room, along with Van der Sar. Before that, they had an Irishman who ran it with an iron fist. And what did that translate to? History. History, folks. So my bet, I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer makes it to 2020. He doesn't make it to 2020. For me, Poch was the right decision. Man United have got this one so wrong. Maurizio Pochettino was waiting and begging to be called. And folks, I don't think Maurizio Pochettino will be at Tottenham next year. I think he'll be at Old Trafford come the end of next season. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will not make the end of next season because it's over, folks. These players are out of hand and there is no reining them in now. Solskjaer's won Norwegian title. What are we talking about here? This is Manchester United. It's a joke. Ed Woodward is one of the most incapable people in the history of this football club. It is good night nurse because they've got another one wrong. And folks, 1 would have been a mistake. 2 is bad luck. 3 is ridiculous. But they've got 4 managerial appointments wrong. And I'm afraid, Man United, you are officially Liverpool now. You're officially Arsenal now. Man United can say goodbye to the title for the next 5 years. There's no recovering from this. It's now accepted. You're a top 4 club. At the top 5 club, you're happy to be in the top 4. You're Arsenal, you're Liverpool now. Folks, that's Man United now. That's what you're telling me. You're praising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for doing something that's expected at Man United. I expect you to not be beaten for 14 in a row. It's Man United. Man United fans, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the United way ever again. That's dead. Because you've handed the club over to the players. Jesse Lingard, Paul Pogba. I don't mind the guys having fun, but Man United is dead. Let's move on to the last subject. Anybody who watches Super Rugby knows it is a shambles. Organizationally, it is a shambles. So last week, or was it 2 weeks back, some news came out that the Sunwolves will have their last season in next season. I'm delighted about it. I couldn't be happier that they're kicking the Sunwolves out. South Africa probably needs to lose 1 team, and we did go back. At most, this competition should have 14. Australia could probably lose 1. It should really be Super 12. Folks, organizationally, it's a shambles, and I'm ecstatic that the Sunwolves are out. It's a team of mercenaries. It's a team of mercenaries. Rather let them go to Europe and play. It's a bunch of guys above 30 who are done. And I'm sure earning a fine packet. I love when players earn money, but go to Europe for that. Go to Europe for that. And I'll tell you why I say that. First of all, it serves no purpose to Japan. So we know that was a lie, so it's all about the money. I've only ever seen 3 Japanese players on the field. I've only ever seen 3 Japanese players on the field. The Jaguares, I can understand. Now, those guys are serious. They had a plan. They played their players. They even brought some of their internationals back. And look at them putting 50 on the Sharks, a traditional powerhouse in the competition, a former champion of the competition. The point of Super Rugby is it's supposed to be the preparation for Test Rugby. It's supposed to be preparation for Test Rugby. The Sunwolves are a joke. It's a bunch of guys that are retired, too old, and not good enough to go and play for New Zealand. 3 Japanese players at most, and even then most of them are coming off the bench. The Sunwolves are a joke. It's a farce. It is an absolute farce. I couldn't be happier that the Sunwolves are being cut. South Africa needs to get a team cut because we don't have the coaches. We've got the talent, but we don't have enough coaches to spread around and actually produce. We don't have the quality to produce really 2 quality teams. But Australia needs to cut a team as well. I'm sorry. Like, the Sunwolves is a joke. Super Rugby, Sanzar, you are a joke. You are making a joke of it. That's why schools rugby is more popular than the professional product. You should be embarrassed about that. But I feel like these guys don't care as long as they get the money. They don't get crowds. You know why? People aren't stupid. They'd rather go and watch schoolboy rugby. It's run by professionals, people who care about rugby. It's embarrassing. Sanzar, World Rugby, I guess World Rugby less so. Sanzar, it is a joke. Super Rugby is a joke. You can't be the 3rd best team in New Zealand, but you're actually 7th on the log and call it an elite competition. Folks, you should be delighted that the Sunwolves are being kicked out. It's never too late to do the right thing. Now, if this is the stone rolling downhill, gathering that moss, gathering that snowball, getting bigger and bigger, because I wanted to steamroll a South African team and I want them to steamroll an Australian team. The competition level is ridiculous. It's terrible. You know why nobody watches Super Rugby? Because the New Zealand teams are going to win. The talent spread too thin. But it's all about having more games, which means more television rights money. Stop it. Bring the size down, bring the quality up, the crowds will come back, it'll be tighter, and quite frankly, Australia and South Africa don't have the talent there in South Africa, but they don't have the coaches to maintain quality teams. South Africa doesn't even have 1 quality coach. What, we need 5 quality coaches? South Africa does not have 1 world-class coach within its borders right now. Not a single one. Japan definitely not, and Australia don't have 4. For goodness sake. We can see that. It's embarrassing. Sanzar, pull it together. Get it together. Rugby is a great game, but it's being killed by those men in suits, as so many other emerging sports have been. They're trying to go, and I see what rugby is trying to do. They're trying to go global before they've even fixed the local product. Folks, I watch schoolboy rugby in South Africa. They're not struggling to get, the big derbies don't struggle to get 8 or 10,000. I went to go and watch my little nephew play rugby on the weekend. There was a good 5,000, 6,000 people there, and it was half full. It was an early season game. It was half full. Folks, Super Rugby, be careful. People aren't stupid. They will vote with their money, and they're voting with their money now. The fact that your crowds are low is not a coincidence. People are still going to sports events, but they're going to school rugby. It's run by professionals. Get it together. Sunwolves, get out of there. Love it. Love it. Couldn't love it more. It's an elite competition. It's supposed to be the best versus the best. Could not love it more. It's been a farce. It's been an experiment that was all around money, and I'm delighted the Sunwolves are gone. Now get the cleaver out and get yourself to South Africa, get rid of a team, and get rid of an Australian team. Folks, that's it for today. From the bleachers with me, MKT, it has been awesome. Remember, we're on iTunes. I'll put it in the description. I'll put the link. If you've got an Android phone, Podbean, it is in the description. If you just want to listen to the audio, maybe while you're busy at work, whatever it may be, in the description, subscribe, like, and then, of course, we are on Facebook and YouTube, and you can check all of that out in the description. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been From the Bleachers with me, MKT, and to my main man, Eldrick Woods. I cannot wait for another stellar year. Folks, until tomorrow, it has been a pleasure to be with you. Cannot wait. Thanks for joining me.